Now, so far the government has done a lot in this area because most of these equipments are free. As he talked about the greenhouses, farming in a container farming, in all these things, these areas are the one the government will now have to focus on because the duty rate on those items today under 9406 is, as I've told you, 20% with levy and VAT to be paid. So the chairman, or the minister of the national planning was my chairman when I was in service. We went for the resuscitation of the textile industries. We visited all the textile industry in the country with him. So he is now in a position to be able to implement all the recommendations that we have put forward before the Mr. President, as at that time, it was Mr. Obasanjo who was the president at that time. So he could be able to implement all these recommendations that we have put forward to the president. Now, the small-scale farmer, the last government under the GES program used to give fertilizer at a subsidized rate, I think about 3,000 naira or 2,000 naira, with free seeds. We used to package our seeds at 12.5 kgs, and once a farmer buys 1 kg, one bag of 50 kg fertilizer, he is given a bag of 12.5 kg seeds so that he can be able to go and carry out his farming business. But this program, and I would like to advise the government, was left in the hands of the civil servant. They will go and sit down and write fictitious name of people, and when these things are being distributed, it will be diverted. It doesn't go to the right farmer, the farmer in the village. So I would suggest the government should start thinking of using the village heads, the district heads, and the traditional rulers who will be guarantors of these farmers, because they know the actual farmers they have within their own domain, so that they will be able to control and monitor this. And in so doing, the intention, the objective of government will get, this program will get to the real small-scale farmer who is in the village. They are the people that are producing what we now eat. For example, in rice, the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Agriculture conducted a survey and realized that the government or Nigeria needs about 6 million metric tons of rice, which the Nigerian farmer is only producing 4 million metric tons, and there is a balance of 2 million metric tons that needs to be imported. So with this encouragement, and if these fertilizers, if the seeds, if the herbicides are going directly to the rural farmer, who is the actual farmer, can get this thing, I think within a short period, we will be able to cover the shortfall of the 2 million metric tons of rice. Right. I'm a rice farmer. I produce rice. I produce rice seeds, not grains. And these seeds are being processed and are distributed to the farmers by the government under the GES. I don't know what the new government, the policy they are going to come up with, but I think they decided to continue with the GES program with a bit of modification, which the Minister of Agriculture has said to the nation.
Okay, Mr. Bello, we'll come back to you. We've been joined by Dr. Henrietta Onwugboezie of the Lagos Business School. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Before you came in, Angela was talking about how we tend to copy what we see out there without looking for the reasons why it's out there. Now, the question I want to ask is, would you say abundance of resources is a curse to Nigeria?
Well, I wouldn't put it that way, because anything can be used well or used badly. I think it's about the way we've chosen to use our resources. So, for example, we could have been able to refine our oil, but we have somehow chosen to export crude and import refined oil. If we realize that the mainstay of our economy is oil, we should at least look after the sector. But we all know that unfortunately we're a bit more focused on corruption, and as a result not looked after what could have been a long-term resource which is very compatible with diversification, because it's understandable that no matter how lucrative any particular sector is, you can't let your entire economy depend on that sector. There's a need to diversify, and Nigeria is blessed with resources. I wouldn't say it's a curse, because with the right governments in place, and I think we do have the right governments in place right now, we can actually turn all these threats, these things that have been threats up until now. I say threats because the focus on oil has led us to ignore other very lucrative areas of the economy. We can actually begin to unleash the potential of these other sectors and turn this country into what it should actually be.
Okay, you talked about unleashing the potentials, and before you came, we were talking more about agriculture. What other areas do you think Nigeria can diversify?
Amazing. There's so many areas. Well, okay, let me start with our herbs. Okay, I was looking at the field of looking at the health sector, for example, where we see that healthcare is expensive for both the middle class and the upper class, talk less of the lower income people. That's one area that India has been able to contribute billions of dollars to its GDP. They've developed the herbal indigenous medical sector to the point where they're using it at the same level with conventional medicine, and they're delivering much better healthcare than in any part of the world at lower costs. That's something that Nigeria needs desperately. Then we have power. Okay, we have natural gas. We should be exporting this to other African countries, but that's another area we have not developed to its full potential. Our infrastructure. Nigeria is placed very close to the coast. Our ports could give us a lot of revenue. In fact, that's all Singapore used to transform its economy, because they had no other natural resources. We haven't used that well either. Then you have the hides and skin. I mean, there's just so much. You go to, now as a child, you could go to the beach and find shells. I remember my dad explaining to us, these are cowrie shells, it used to be money. These are explaining to us the different types of shells on the beach. If you go to any of the beaches right now, you don't find even one, not even the most common shell that looks like the Shell company logo, because they're all being bagged and sent to China. The Chinese use it to make China plates and cutlery, and they send it back to us, and we buy it at just exactly what's happening in the oil industry. We pay much more for it. The same thing is happening with our herbs. Okay, people take it out of here and bring it back to us. Go to the cashew, okay, that's taking it back to agriculture. Okay, the cashew, the same thing is happening there. The Indians come, take our raw cashew, pay peanuts, refine it, and sell it back to us for more than 3 times or 5 times the price. So I think time has come for us, and I think that people are beginning to realize it. I happen to be talking to some very young Africans from all over, young people from all over Africa. They're called Harambeyans, who are focused on developing solutions to challenges in Africa, be it in the educational sector or exporting our indigenous products. And they are doing a lot. I think they've studied abroad in Ivy League schools like MIT, Harvard, Columbia, and I think it's dawned on them that only Africans, only Nigerians can change Nigeria. No one is going to come and change it for us. And so they're doing really grandiose things in different sectors to help ensure that we can progressively begin to realize that potential we've been talking about for decades.
But the question that some people will be asking is, how together would you say the Nigerians who seek change, not necessarily waiting for the government, how together are they? I mean, are they coming together to create hubs? Yes. She talked about creating certain things for agriculture that you landed on, creating the buildings, the greenhouses and all of that. She does that. But in the time when there's no capital, you still find a lot of people seeking to launch out on their own. You hardly find partnerships.
That's not true. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Okay.
And I'll say that young people are finding that way with or without government. I'll say that till date, I've not gotten any funding from government, and I'm proud, because I've been able to leverage on partnerships, leverage on network, and the benefit is, like she said, there are a lot of young people who have either studied abroad or lived abroad, and and that's what China did. They leverage on the network that they were able to get there, and there's money there to be brought into Nigeria. And if you have the credibility and you can actually do the job well, people will vouch for you.